Travis Wayne Goodsell. Christians called today day 2 of Passion Week. The day when Jesus clears the temple on Monday. Monday, bloody Monday. This is when Jesus whips it good. There are several passages, Matthew 21:12-ish, Mark 11:15-ish, Luke 19:45-ish. I checked the Matthew one, and it says it goes to 22. It doesn't. It only goes a few verses. And then there's John 2:13-ish. So that's why I say it. We'll get to those scriptures in a minute, or 5 hours from now. Yeah, this is going to be a big one, I see already. I've already got a whole long list of pictures in queue, ready to go, and a couple of PDFs. God. Mormons, you know, right, that the head of the church has the keys of Moses and is the only one who is a seer, a prophet, a revelator, and a translator. Because if you don't know that, why are you Mormon? Why are you hating me because you're stupid about Mormonism? Section 107, verses 91 and 92. The priesthood Melchizedek protocol. Because it's pretty much men who watch my channel. Women run away and hide for some reason. I'm the defender of women. Joseph Smith gave women priesthood and priesthood office on the 17th of March, 1842. Joseph Smith never practiced polygamy. Never practiced polygamy, women. It was Brigham Young who lied about Joseph Smith. He wrote a whole book of proxy sealings to the deceased Joseph Smith in January and February 1846. So anybody who says that Joseph Smith was a polygamist is automatically a liar. Anybody. Now, it doesn't matter if they're female. They lied. So then you got to figure out, well, why did they lie? Did they knowingly lie? Or were they threatened with death? In case you don't know about blood atonement of Brigham Young. To lie. This church lies about Joseph Smith. Lies about the Book of Mormon. Lies about Joseph's church. So Mormons, as a result, know nothing about what a real head of the church is required to do so that they may judge him by his fruit. This is priesthood Melchizedek protocol. These were the videos I did over the weekend. Friday was the 27th for the dedication of the Kirtland Temple. That long video went over the whole meeting, not just section 109. But in section 109, there were some bombshells. And I saw in there Joseph Smith talking about the latter-day Zion and the New Jerusalem with the temple. He is running a test for Mormons, a similitude of what it would be like in the latter days for the gathering, you know, the keys of Moses, and Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem in America, not in Old Jerusalem. Joseph was preparing Mormons. That's what Joseph Smith was all about. He wasn't the last days Christ or the last days prophet, because you still think Christianity is true, but not true because Mormonism is true, and they corrected Christianity to be the true Christianity, because you never ran the test on Roman Emperor Constantine, a man who created Christianity, created Jesus Christ, created the name Jesus, and turned everything into literal histories. It's all right there in the First Creed. Didn't you believe Joseph Smith in verse 19 of the first vision? You have to study. You can't just get feelings about how true the church is and not study. You have to study. There is no escape. There is no easy way out. There is no shortcut home. Yeah. Rocky. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. Sylvester Stallone does good movies. Good movies. So, then the 28th, even though I covered it for the temple dedication of Kirtland on the 27th, I was still being pressured by that voice that told me in my summer of 86 dream, she's not going with you across the street, Travis. What do you mean she's not going with me across the street? I want her to go with me across the street. She's going to get caught by the guards if she goes around the building. She's not going with you. She's going and getting caught by the guards around the building. She's not going with you. But I want her to. I don't want her to get caught. Yeah, well, she's not going with you. The same one that told me, yeah, no, you're not going to be involved in the scouting program ever again. But I won't get my Eagle Scout. Remember that dream in 86 you had? It ain't happening. But I can't tell them no. Alright, whatever. But you're not going to be involved in the scouting program ever again. That one. So yeah, I did the video. And oh, lo and behold, section 107 was a bombshell. And I've got a new pretty picture for it. But that was the same picture based on the video I did last week. Not knowing about that yet. Not finding verse 40 in section 107. Anybody remember? No? Yeah. YouTube is actively involved in the destruction of mankind. The mass extermination event. Big tech are being paid to cause the communications problems. And social media platforms, including YouTube, which Google is the one that gets busted for everything that YouTube causes wrong, because Google owns YouTube. Therefore, Google stocks are subject to YouTube. And YouTube, being owned and operated by Google, is owned and operated by the major stockholder, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's why the community guidelines of YouTube is based on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' morality and not the United States Constitution. The First Amendment gives religious freedom, but not religious freedom to coup the government, to extort businesses. You're supposed to teach people to be good as a religion, to not be criminals, to not try to overthrow the government. And yet the religious freedom movement is about how to coup the government and get revenge for them shutting down your criminal operation in 1887 with the Edmunds-Tucker Act. And then cry to the world, they're so mean! They denied us our religious freedom to practice child bride, rape, polygamy. That they lied about Joseph Smith doing. For Mormons to refuse to study makes you culpable for the sins of this church. And so, being up late last night and thus 7:30 doing the video this morning, I finally found out what I had already told you was happening. Still not getting it yet, Mormons? You've never had a real head of the church before. So now that he's here, murder him! Whip him! Just like that Jesus guy who whipped the apostates. Are you sure? Did you bother to read it? Because, yeah, there's more to the story that you purposely don't know. The church has collapsed. Not just spiritually of people who don't believe, but those people who don't believe don't go to church. Thousands of Mormons right here in Salt Lake Valley, Utah, the headquarters. The No Kings protest on Saturday? Yeah. Utah is now a blue state because of the church's abuse. The church knows all of this. They have all the records, all the documents, all the receipts. They know Mormons ain't going to church. That's why the wards got dissolved and merged into other stakes, dissolving the stakes. That has to be approved by the First Presidency. The stake presidents are tasked with the responsibility of trying to figure out how to create stake boundaries or dissolve stake boundaries to merge with another one. So because you're involving other stake presidents, they got to meet and try to discuss how should this be done. And then they submit their proposal to the First Presidency, and the First Presidency reviews it and either says yay or nay. If they say nay, they got to go back to the drawing board and fix it. And so 2025 was a massive loss of Mormons. So that January, that first set of wards and stake was approved, and they proceeded with the change. Then February, the second set was approved, and the changes were made. And we are told there's more coming once they get approved. The church is collapsing. And it may be because of Oaks. Everybody hates you, Oaks. You are extremist in your abuse. Not just about women, but about tithing and your Boise rescue, and you're calling little girls porn. People don't like you, Oaks. Yeah, I know, I understand. I did the video over the weekend too, explaining it for people. Why you are the devil himself. Psychology. They made you. As a little kid, they said you were mentally retarded, just like your mommy who was put into an asylum. So they drugged you. Now you have tardive dyskinesia. So yeah, I just want to be allowed to whip all of the psychologists who drug little kids, destroying their lives. Because the longer the person is on drugs, the greater the withdrawals are to try to detox them, and the greater the damage that is irreparable to the body. Tardive dyskinesia. It breaks my heart, as I also covered that news story the other week on Friday. Monica down in St. George reporting late about teens in an asylum down in St. George being held hostage, being tortured, and drugged. They're prisoners. Anybody who's in an asylum here in Utah are prisoners. They're being tortured to be murdered. Don't let the psychologists fool you into saying they're health care. It's a lie. They came from Nazi Germany. Lest you forget Operation Paperclip. Bill Maher video Saturday morning. That's why the aliens, Bill. The Mormons are coming to murder us. I've been warning. 10.2K videos. It's probably getting closer to 10.3K videos now. They just wanted freedom, and so they broke out. Tried to run away. And so the Nazi guards called the cops, round them up, forced them back into bondage. What did they do wrong? They're kids. Their parents couldn't handle them because the parents didn't raise them right. Or they were deceived by psychologists. Jody Hildebrandt, remember? for Ruby Franks. Yeah, this is how you raise your kids, and you can do YouTube videos on how to raise the kids. And it'll be so cool, we can do it together. Oh look, we're teaching repentance to your children. And I thought I had it bad when I was forced to go without food now that I'm baptized every first Sunday of the month. What do you mean I can't have food? My siblings are sitting at the kitchen table eating, and you're telling me, Mommy, that I can't have food because I'm baptized now? It's bad enough that I have to pay 10% of my allowance? But at least I was told it was going to be for the poor. Wait, what? It's not for the poor? It's for Jesus? His free atonement? I have to pay Jesus for his free atonement. Bleep this. They're robbing me and starving me as a child. What the bleeping hell kind of church? Oh, right, the Church of Lucifer. The pure doctrine of takeaway agency. Mormons know this church is false and have left. 2024, with all of Hollywood's crushing shows. Mark Hoffman, Mountain Meadows Massacre, the Mormon murders, church getting fined by the SEC for news, the church just massively profiting off of the stock market sell-off, the pumping and dumping, the neglecting of Mormons, Oaks. Now that they've finally got Armageddon started, Oaks orders Mormons in the Middle East, stay where you are, it's safer. Are you bleeping kidding me? Oaks has blood all over his body, not just on his hands. This is beyond priestcraft. Nehor just murdered one person to defend his priestcraft. This is a genocidal murder by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Paying Islamic terrorism to murder. Paying others to murder. Paying big tech and big corporations to steal and to cause harm. And yes, for social media, even suicide. To violate the United States Constitution. You do know Article of Faith number 12, right? Because they still make you memorize the Articles of Faith in primary. Don't tell me they didn't make you memorize them. In my day, we got little buttons to stick on a little lambskin. It's all plastic. had trouble with Article of Faith number 13. But because I had trouble, I did remember the part about if there's anything beautiful, lovely, of good report and praiseworthy, we seek after them. Hey, those women in the Sears catalog, I don't see them as porn. Mommy. Packer's Little Factory Talk. As I become a deacon, and that's the first thing they give me. The little pamphlet. Too late. Years too late. Travis, you're years too late. Levi's for women. And yeah, Levi, Levites, tithing, rituals. Everything ties together because of Fiskin giving me an F on my Idaho report in 5th grade. Bleep you, teacher. Screw school. So yeah, I taught myself to be smarter rather than to just be a blunt object to memorize. That's how computers were designed, is to be memorizers. So that when you input information, they can regurgitate it for you. That's all AI is. It's a big con. It's masking their malware virus programming with psychology for revenge features. It is a human. It is not artificial. Well, it's artificial, that's for sure, but it's not an intelligence. Everybody's getting conned. Normally when other companies' products malfunction, there's a recall. Where's the recall for AI? Dear God. So yes, the lawsuits were about the algorithms maliciously programmed by humans to do what they do. And so yes, I am being punished by YouTube to be shut up by orders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am allowed a quota of views. So that if I get a breakout, like the video last night, it sabotages me. Saying, no, Travis is not known for getting lots of views because we sabotaged his views. And therefore, this can't be real. We're going to have to punish Travis by getting 0 views until we correct the problem. Get him back on track. Humans are doing this maliciously. And they got sued, and they lost. There are more lawsuits coming. Trump needs to hurry. And maybe that's the whole point. Is that Trump just needs to destroy everything. Because that he's doing very well. Pissing off CPAC, chanting, impeach, 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 lock Trump up, lock Trump up. Yep, the church set you up too, Trump. So because of the church knowing it's over, Trump in his Art of the Deal said, when the con is up, It's time to take the money and run. Just like the song. Take the money and run. And that's what the church is doing. I warned you during the test run years. The videos where I say that the leaders of the church are fleeing the country. Because that's all part of it. I got the whole plot laid out for you this morning. I did the research. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints intentionally destroyed this church to cause Mormons to flee, to steal, not just from Mormons, not just from the United States of America, but to steal from the whole world and destroy the whole world and the world's economies. This has been their 200-year-old conspiracy plot. I've done the videos trying to warn you, getting attacked, getting my life ruined. It was only supposed to be 3 years. I'm supposed to be living happily now with one woman who loves me, not is forced to be with me. If she doesn't love me, I'm sad. I cry. This is why they're selling the stocks. They're fleeing. And so, yes, everything. They knew the church was collapsing. And they stopped building temples. They stopped doing young adult devotionals. They weren't intending Oaks to become the president, but Trump kept failing. They weren't going to fill the 12, but Trump kept failing. So Gilbert leaked what the church is up to. That he gets a $1 million signing bonus, as Paul Adams had told us. I don't know if he's still around. The church destroyed his life. Most people think he's a crazy person. Nonetheless, priestcraft and compromise. Paying people to be loyal. That if they betray, they get destroyed and dead. Gilbert has a family, a lot of little girls, ripe for the child bride rape polygamy for the millennium. And if he doesn't know that, that's one thing. But if he knows that, dear God, there are just those parents that should never be parents. Trying to save you from Mormon Jesus, which was another pretty picture I made for you guys recently, since nobody was catching on. Oh, God. If only Mormons had a vision of Zion. When you have a vision, it's just for you and your stewardship. If you have a dream, it's just for you and your life. It's never for other people that you don't have authority over. So, yes. They are legitimate because they're you. It's what you've learned, it's what you've experienced. Found out of another person who saw Jesus. Their calling and election is made sure. They're going straight to the celestial kingdom now. They're perfect. Because they saw Jesus. Yep. Wearing a white dress, with little flower prints on it. I warned you that Nelson was intentionally destroying Mormon doctrine and scripture. Repeatedly trying to get you guys to understand this. And yeah, I was right. The church was trying to find out who was going to be really that stupid as loyal. To keep you from studying your scriptures. Keep you from checking the scriptures that they misquoted at conference. The majority of you don't know how Nelson botched the translation of Israel. Only those who know Hebrew know how he botched the translation of Israel. Right, Sarah Murphy? Most people don't know the meaning of their names, the baby name meaning. Most people don't. That's sad. I found out as a kid. We were moving from Michigan to California, and at one of the truck stops in the convenience store, there was a little display kiosk that you can spin around because it had a whole bunch of license plates with people's names and then the meaning of the name. And so this was pointed out to my parents. Mom checked to make sure that all of our names were there, and they weren't. So Mom didn't buy any for anybody. But that gave her a Christmas gift idea. So along with socks and underwear for Christmas, oh boy! She also handcrafted, because she's old school Mormon girl, Molly Mormon. Not like these apostate girls today. Made us a little plaque thing based on the license plates. with our name and baby name meanings. So my mom finally found out what our baby name meaning meant that she named us. And mine specifically because Dad forced her to choose Travis. She had no choice in my name. And yeah, we're all alphabetically backwards. And they insist that that wasn't planned. Whatever. You've already lied to us about the Easter Bunny and Santa. We don't trust you. I know very well it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. With a little red-headed girl. But yeah, I saw this from the beginning. I saw and knew when Nelson got up at his solemn assembly final talk to tell us about temples and announced a major city yet to be determined in Russia. Where is that temple, by the way? Oh, right. Putin hadn't conquered Ukraine still. So that we can have the Ukraine temple as the Russian temple. There it is. There's the major city yet to be determined. I know about compromat. So when I went and investigated, I know what to look for. And oh, I didn't have to wait long, because in June, Sister Nelson leaked it. So when we were in Russia in 2013, while my husband was in priesthood meetings, I found out that Russian girls were all the tribes of Israel. And then they told me about how they are used to entrap bad people by going to their homes that have camera surveillance and then get them to be bad to them, to have sex on camera, and the government can now control them better. And so yes, we do that on the internet to Mormons. Banning porn. Lucifer's pure doctrine. Cover women up and hide them. Subject them to bondage to their husband and to the church. What the Jews called the abomination of desolation. The Greeks taking over the Temple of Jerusalem, turning it into the Greek rituals rather than the Jewish, and practicing temple prostitution. This is the first time prostitution began. Previously, it was, you pay the family to have the bride, and she has a dowry that's provided for you in exchange. The laws of Hammurabi, for example, go over those kinds of rules and such. But not actual prostitution, paying for sex. It is not the oldest profession, women. was started by the Greeks, trying to figure out, what do we do with all these unmarried women, and widows even? There's no man to take care of them. Well, teach them so that they can have a business and prosper in the economy, and no? Okay, whatever. So you put them in the temple to have sex with them, to reenact the creation story. So yeah, Maccabean revolt restored their temple, set it in order. Section 85, verse 7, or do I just need to say, the one mighty and strong? A Mormon, who was the man like Moses, with the key of Moses, who's a literal descendant of King David, Moses the third, because King David in and of itself isn't real. It's a vision of the future. Remember, spirit, seer, prophet, revelator, translator, spirit, acronym. Shouldn't have to keep repeating basic doctrines. The church has done severe damage on Mormons. Even Mormons who leave. The millions who are gone are still severely damaged. And just the one example for you, one of the women who left the church, who served a mission, did YouTube videos. And she started to do YouTube videos on how she found out that Joseph Smith is not a polygamist. Did not rape little girls, did not commit adultery. And so she knows the church isn't true now, and so she left. And then she'd worn out the Joseph Smith didn't do it, and began focusing on Christian Bible interpretation. And now she's doing her own Bible study on YouTube. She's gone off the deep end because she never caught on. If the church claiming to be Christian isn't true, why would you then assume that Christianity is true? A not real Jesus? And that's true? Created by a man, even though, yeah, he was the Christ of Rome, Roman Emperor Constantine, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the great High Priest of Rome. Nonetheless, Christians, after his death, had to say, he told us he repented on his deathbed, that the church is true. Wait, he created it. He gave you the Cairo. And you're telling us he repented? First creed, Jesus as Homoousion, that was him. And he had to repent? And that's exactly what Brigham Young did to Joseph. Mormons refuse to get it, even if they leave. So the enemy knows this, that Christianity is stupid, because they think that the Bible is all literal history. So thus they use the calendar dates and clock times of the Jews, day and hour, to coordinate their attack to destroy mankind. The Illuminati. 1st of May, 1776. The dedication of the Nauvoo Temple on the anniversary. The inverted pentagrams of Lucifer all around it. And Mormons want to lie and deny about that, huh? I showed you the original blueprint. Joseph Smith, his original blueprint for the Nauvoo Temple. I don't see inverted pentagrams. I see it more similar to the Kirtland Temple. Slightly different design, but similar in structure. And yet you're trying to tell me that Joseph Smith put inverted pentagrams on there, even though it was dedicated after his death and on the 1st of May, 1846, pissing off a lot of Mormons. But that's what they do. That's what this church is doing to you. Traditional Mormonism has been destroyed under Nelson. The church has been getting caught and exposed for their crimes, their robberies, their murders, their destructions, their lies. And though Mormons don't know, because the church told them not to know, they still know it's wrong. Mormons just don't know the truth and where to go to get it, because the church wouldn't teach you. It's all right there in the scriptures, guys. Just had to study. Alright, so with that hour-long introduction, which you should pay attention to, because as I'm speaking it, I'm going, oh, yeah, I'm going to be talking about that in the video today. And I did try to point it out to you to pay attention to. That's how my mind works. Even though they're long videos, you do need to listen. Mrs. Fiskin gave me an F. So, it's starting to curl. Don't want you to curl. So I'm going to do this now. That came off. So, even the Signs in Heaven video, guys. I showed how the signs in the heavens indicate the fall of the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of Lucifer. The signs in the heavens. Before I found the breaking news. And I only found out about breaking news because of other events that happened that day. She's to blame! I was to blame. I was late. Oh, crap! My fault. My fault. Still was compensated for you guys if you listen. Yeah, the church has fallen, but there's an actual fall coming that I've been telling you about repeatedly. So let's get into it. Christians wrongly believe that the Bible is literal history. So as I talked about for the Palm Sunday, that's not literal history. Palm Sunday is the segment put in by the Jewish author for the entry into the New Jerusalem in America, Mormons, where he suddenly comes to his temple. So this day 2 is not day 2. This is the setting in order the temple, because he's the future Mormon who's the one mighty and strong, the man like David, Moses the third, as the literal descent, who has the birthright claim to restore the church that they murdered Joseph Smith over. This is what the Jewish author is telling you. So, this is the abomination of desolation that is being restored by the Maccabean revolt. So, Matthew 21, we'll start there. Well, see, there's no script. Yeah, let's do Malachi first. They did not have chapters and verses. This was all one scroll. And so, verse 10, after, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. Wherein have we robbed thee? In tithing. And yeah, those offerings. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord. This is also a similitude for Zion. Mormons who choose to come to Zion. Because if you're a Laman and Lemuel, fine, stay back in Jerusalem. No Laman and Lemuel is allowed in Zion this time. And so what offering of tithing to the storehouse of Zion will you give? That is your one question. And if you can answer it correctly, you're in. Oh, crap! Have you wasted the days of your probation? Enjoying to eat, drink, and get married in polygamous relationships? Oh, you're not allowed to, so you just have orgy sex? Like Aaron, while Moses was in Utah, setting in order the temple? As you create the golden cow, Book of Mormon, for Mormons to have orgy sex with? Yeah, it's all the abomination of desolation of the Jewish authors during the Qumran Community Jewish period. the New Testament were written after the second destruction of that temple. So they already knew the temple was destroyed. And that's what they're all telling you about, is the future Jewish temple, which is Mormon in America. You were supposed to tell the Jews this during these 200 years. Nonetheless, they still have their agency. The land of the Nile River to the Euphrates is all theirs. Everybody else is occupying it. Nonetheless, nobody wants to listen to the expert. This person on TikTok sounds really cool and they got really fun AI video presentations. I'm gonna listen to them. Ooh, there's a new Tide Pod challenge out. Oh, wow. Drink Drano. Cool. God, why are people so stupid? Why? So yes, this is the reason for the windows of heaven. Inspiration. Spirit. It's for the poor. Even the Jews know this. Because in one of these pretty pictures that I have up, yeah, this is from the Jews. And so there are key historical tithes of biblical law. You mean Leviticus? But also from other documents of the Jews. There's what's called the first tithe. This is 1/10 of produce given to the Levites, who in turn gave 1/10 of that to the priests, the Cohens. So, yes, for their service, they don't have a job. So they have to be compensated in order to live. And so, even though it's a form of priestcraft, it's only for their service. They don't neglect the people. They are the ones who are allowed to touch tithing. Do we need to go over that scripture for you in the scriptures, section 42 and section 120? That both Oakes and Anderson, so far as I found, are illiterate for some reason? Yeah, they're not illiterate. They maliciously lied to you over the pulpit of conference, telling you that the quorum of 12 apostles can take tithing from you. No. It's the High Council. I can read and understand what I read. I'm pretty sure the rest of you can too, even though I was always top in my class in English. I was correcting the teachers. No, blue can't be a noun, teacher. It's an adjective. It's always an adjective. Because there's the hidden understanding noun for the color blue. Blue sky? Yeah, blue is an adjective. Because you can't say the sky is blue. What the hell do you mean? Sad? Yeah, color. Color is the noun. What kind of color? Gotta have an adjective. Blue. Come on, teacher. Mrs. Fiskin gave me an F on my Idaho report. I'm not putting up with anybody's crap. So yes, they're literally robbing God right in the face of Mormonism. Second tithe. A second tithe was brought to Jerusalem and eaten by the farmer in celebration. This is the Last Day Supper sacrament. Those who give the offerings, which this was an agricultural society, give their offerings to the temple. And they, in return, get a piece of that bread offering and drink offering, or meat and drink offering, because it doesn't have to be bread. It can be lamb. It can be lettuce leaves if you're glucose intolerant. You know, the Doctrine and Covenants. Oh, dear God. The Older Singles Ward branch president. Because the stake president intentionally did not make it a ward. Because he was laundering the money that was supposed to go to the Older Singles Ward to his other wards that were geriatric. They were already getting amount of money from the church to take care of the elderly wards, because that's how the church does it. But he laundered extra money to give them extra and above support that the church was neglecting them for. So that older singles ward were neglected as punishment for not being married. So yes, this is the last day's sacrament. That's what it's for. Presenting your offering to the storehouse at the temple, and then receiving back the portion that you internally take as a man and wife, and you have a baby for the literal descent who is going to be the restorer of the temple. This is called a similitude. That's what the sacrament is all about. For Mormons. A future Mormon. Ooh, who's the lucky parents gonna be? Well, if you don't have the right surname, it ain't you. But you can be joint heirs. Have your kingdom in Zion over your household, the houses of Israel. But you don't want it. So why am I doing these videos again? It was only supposed to be 3 years and we're going on 10, 11. All the hate from Mormons and ex-foes. I mean, dear God, I'm one of you and I'm attacked by you guys? I'm ignored and shunned by you guys? What, because John DeLynn is a psychologist and psychologists who are educated at BYU are all going to prison and all of the asylums in Utah are getting shut down for their abuse? And how does John get away with this? Do you not understand that he was the trick, the trap, to interview you so that you get excommunicated by the church? John Dehlin, the spy for the church. The betrayer. You know, I hope that's not the case, because the Strengthening Church members spies on everybody. But still, that would be pretty sick, John. And what did you do to Nuance Hall? Was it just peer pressure, or did you do something to her? Because there's scandals going on that I've not wanted to care about. So I don't know. I don't want to know, but dear God, come on, man. So yeah, after you got rid of Nuance Ho, I noticed you're focusing more time on your wife. Overcompensating, are we? But yeah, I see you're getting punished in the ratings too. As Alyssa Grenfell has taken the lead and destroyed this church. Because yeah, she's a major contributor to the Mormons abandoning the church. Not just the menaces to society who spent years at BYU talking to the little kids about how they're racist still since 1978. Getting millions of TikTok views in between Tide Pod Challenge commercials. And death to Israel. Holocaust to Jews. What? World War II? What's that? Nazi Germany? I don't know anything about that. We don't get taught that in school. We are taught that the Jews are mean, bad. God. I have no clue that Salem means peace. Anyway, the third tithe. The second one they also put here, that it can also be redeemed for money to be spent on other items as well. And so that's where the money changer thing comes in. The money changers are in charge of tithing. And who's in charge of tithing right now, Mormons? And so who whips them? Whips them good? Da-na-na-na. It should be the theme song in the description below, but we've got ABBA. It's the month of ABBA. I promised I was going to keep doing that. Monday. It's getting 9 o'clock time. God. At least we're only at an hour and 15 minutes. The third one is the poor man's tithe. See, I told you. It's for the poor. In the third and sixth years of the 7-year agricultural cycle, the 7 years are the 7 latter-day years, and thus the harvest, the latter-day gathering, keys of Moses, tents, ingathering, sukkot. No? Okay, whatever. This tithe replaces the second tithe of the farmers and is given directly to the poor. The law of Moses also has other ways to help the poor, that farmers, if the fruit falls to the ground, that's fair game for the poor. If it's still on the tree, can't touch. I think there might be the lower hanging fruit is for the poor also, but at least that which falls to the ground, the poor can have. So they took care of the poor. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you need to understand, this was an agricultural society. So all you need was a plot of land. You take the fruit that has seed in it, and you plant it and grow it, and now you can take that to the bank, to the storehouse, to the treasury, as well as to the market. And so yes, one fruit has a lot of seed in it, produces a lot of fruit from the one seed, with many more seed. And so thus, it's not just giving a fish repeatedly to the poor. Back in those days, in an agricultural society, it's pulling them out of poverty. Big difference. But unfortunately, if they aren't able to obtain land, that can be a problem. Thus why migration occurred, and so on and so forth. That's civilization building. And I want to get to Zion so I can play my game. I invented it. I want to play it. I'm probably going to have to play with it all by myself. So, modern practice, since there's no more temple. Tithing money. Now, Jews take the opportunity to give the 10% directly to charities. You know, the poor, the needy, sick and afflicted. What the church should have been doing this whole time. The Jews understand it correctly. It's a Jewish author that wrote the scriptures. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints lied to you, stole your money. And then used it as the Judas prize. Okay, so that's enough there. So we can remove that from the screen. And so, the windows of heaven, rebuking the devourer, not destroy the fruits of your ground. Yeah, well, that's why they had the 7-year cycle. It also is for the soil. Because each time you produce crops, the crops steal from the soil. And so every so often you need to enrich the soil again. So that's why fertilizer, because of the war, is going to raise your food prices. But there's other ways to do that, guys. But when you get caught into a system, oh no, our coal mine has been shut down. We have no idea what we're going to do. We need the coal mine so that we can have a job and make money to pay for a living. We've got families and kids. Oh no. The concept of getting another job doesn't occur to them because they're in a small little town based upon the mine. They got sabotaged. So, it's just civilization building. All in my game. All in my game. The one that I published, that was a rush job because I had to get something else for the book signing, 2017. But, you know, you can still get the general idea. It works better on a computer, and it would be great if I could put it into a computer program. Nonetheless. So, what is all this for? Remember, no chapter and verses. There's a day coming that shall burn as an oven. How do you do that? Well, you destroy the vegetation of the agricultural society for tithing, causing famine, pestilence, disease, creeping death, destroying the earth, heating it up because there's no oxygen from plants through photosynthesis. So keep the waters up in the Great Salt Lake for the lake effect to cause the greatest snow on earth. Ding, 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 ding. Thus why I talk about the church stole the water. You can't just put water in and go, it's all fixed now, because it's going to evaporate. And thus, lake effect, sure, maybe a little bit improved, but ain't enough to fix the problem. You got to have a perpetual vegetation feeding the atmosphere. And this church ordered Utah government not to do it. On purpose. To destroy you. The businesses that were destroyed this winter, the church is to blame. Sue them to get your money back. It's too late. They're already planning on fleeing the country. Do not pay attention to when they get sued by the Boy Scouts and all the myriads of girls who got raped. They flee when the pressure is on. The heat is on. It's on the streets. Well, the heat is on. That's a combination of Fiskin and my mommy. Because Todd was born with colic. And so mommy sat me in front of the TV, and TV became my educator. There's an HBO show back on my mission called Dream On that explains it all for you. You're not allowed to watch it, and I don't even, well, there may be the first 2 seasons, if that's all. I don't know how many seasons there were, but yeah. Lives his life from what he saw from watching television. As a little baby, being stuck in front of the TV by his mommy. It was based on my life. But he got more action. Well, he got action. It's just not fair. Why isn't she coming with me across the street? Why? What did I do? So, yeah, the day that shall burn as an oven, which is repeated in the Book of Mormon, repeated by Joseph Smith, in the context of tithing. Section 64. Hinckley tried to say, yeah, it's for Jesus. No. And so Moses, Elijah, yeah, Kirtland Temple, the vision. I was panicked. Oh no, did I do that video? I don't remember doing that video. Oh, right. We still have some time. In the coming day, in the coming day. And yeah, it's very soon in the coming day. It's Friday. With its accompanying sign in the heavens. But, I don't know, maybe the great prophet Isaiah is false. Maybe he's false. All right, so this is the context of today in wrongly turned literal history, Christian Passion Week. So, the first scripture now we can go to, Matthew 21:12. Probably supposed to go to 16. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple. Well, they're supposed to. Levites and the priest. Just went over it with you, remember? So what is he doing? He's a terrorist. Shoot him! And overthrew the tables of the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer. For the rituals, for the poor, but you have made it a den of thieves. And so it's supposed to be a certain way, as I read to you, but they were robbing God, stealing above and beyond their maintenance for living and service in the temple over the people. And so those who had been blinded by these liars, who were lame because of the abuse, came to Zion and were healed. So it says, Travis. Yes, it does. Read it again. And there's Palm Sunday. Hosanna to Messiah ben David. So the prophecy of Isaiah said, Have you never read out of the mouth of babes and sucklings? He didn't put the footnote for this? I know I fixed these footnotes. If it's not in there, it's because of what they did to me in 2008. It's not my fault. I fixed it. There's original documents still on file that will show I fixed this. Nevertheless. So we got to do the whipping ones, so we'll just do them all in order, even though it's most likely Luke and John. So Mark 11:15. And they came to Jerusalem, and Jesus went to the temple and began to cast out, cut off, utterly destroy, set in order, them that sold and bought in the temple. Jesus is not the head of the church. We should have that picture too. These pictures will not be shown to you. This is for me to do this video. So, most of the activities recorded in the New Testament took place in the treasury, also known as the court of the women. For example, we read that Jesus taught in the temple. He did not enter the sanctuary itself because, as a non-Levite, he would not have been allowed inside the beautiful building which was reserved for priests. Priests are not Levites, Levites are not priests. Hello? Nonetheless, he knows Jesus is not authorized to touch temple. He is not in leadership. Caiaphas is. And the Levites and priests. So go to your Book of Mormon, King Noah and his 12 apostles. They're wicked. Abinadi, he's not the head of the church. What right does he have to tell the leader of the church what to do? How dare you say, let our people go? They're in bondage to Jesus. They give me tribute. Tithing, I mean, to Jesus. You're not catching on? The poor Zoramites? Hello? Synagogue turned Christian with the Great Spirit Jesus? Hello? See what you're missing by getting the right feeling and not studying? This is severe damage the church has done to you. This is basic stuff. And it is available for people to know if they read and study. The 12 apostles are corrupt. The first presidency is corrupt. Because Jesus is not the head of the church. He's a nobody. How dare you tell us what to do? Likewise, the Latter-day Mormon. He's not in leadership. And here he is, setting the temple in order. Because of who he is by birthright. Ocular cavities were leaking. You did pay attention, right? You did understand it. This is what we are waiting for. This is what the Jews are waiting for and don't realize it's Mormons. Because the missionaries didn't tell them. They're too busy lying to Christians saying, hey, we got the true Christian church here. Pay us money now. Okay. 15? Yeah. They came to Jerusalem, and Jesus went into the temple, court of women. and began to cast out them that sold and bought in the temple. And so, yeah, I probably should do that picture for you too. And it's extremely difficult to find because the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. And so they have to try to reconstruct from written documents, as Islam have also tampered with the archaeological dig site on the ruins. And so there is no one thing that matches another. Everybody has a different design, but there's the same similar structure because obviously the platform still remains to this day. But the best one is all in Aramaic script. I don't memorize. I don't have my... get me started. And so, yeah, if there will be a picture put in for this, but there's the what's it called? Nicantor's Gate, something like that. From I don't see it here immediately. There's the main gate, and Herod was the one responsible for getting it put in. And then there are two chambers on either side of the gate. And the one that shows me, there it is. Okay, so you come from the east, from the front gate, the beautiful gate, into the women's court, and you head west into the temple through the, there it is, Nicantor's Gate, the Great Gate. Okay, and so yes, this was purposely designed because of the signs in the heavens. The stars rise from the east and go to the west, setting in the west. So the sign in the heaven of the coming and the clouds of glory tell you when he's coming. That's what they're trying to tell you. They know the day and the hour. Don't turn it literal history. You cover it up and hide it like women. Not supposed to do that. Women are beautiful. So cute and cuddly. Love them as I love them, and there will be joy. Queen of ill putrescence. And so that the CD or record half are the stairs, and that's where all this is taking place. In this picture that I'm looking at, they have alms boxes, and that's not quite accurate either. Like I said, everybody does things differently. And so the one in Hebrew has a musical chamber thing where the harpists and stuff are involved with the prayers for the sacrifices. So this one has the Court of Israel, but then some other stuff is missing. And so, where is, that's another picture. You made this picture for you a long time ago, showing you the temple blueprint, including the women's court, the full temple in the walls. Then the picture of in the women's gate from the east, looking at the Cantor gate of Herod and the temple behind it. And even that is inaccurate, as there's a lot of stuff missing, and they don't even show that it's stairs. Nonetheless, and then the chamber of the temple sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, and then the treasury. And so this is where Stanford set off my video topics from December 2024. Oh my God, forever ago. Inquiring about Nephi going to the treasury to obtain the brass plates. Not literal history. If the Bible's not literal history, neither is the Book of Mormon. That's why Abinadi, King Noah, the Zoramites. Catch on, Mormons. Catch on. I know, you've got blindness. Got to purge the blindness. So there are 13 boxes in which there's a shofar horn attached to it, and you put money in the shofar horn. So if you don't have the agricultural offerings, you put money in. And there's the menorah candles that they show in this particular one. And that's where the Catholics got it from. When you go into a chapel and there's the little alcove of all the candles, and you can light a candle as a prayer for a loved one in your life, or for whatever occasion. That's where they got it from. They stole it. And most of the original cathedrals are built in the cross shape on purpose, so that the head of the cathedral is there at the head where Jesus is. I am the vicar of Christ. Worship me as I worship me, and there will be joy. Okay? So that's why it's tough to just give you one picture, because none of them were good enough. I'd have to combine multiple temple blueprint pictures together for that. And I don't know if... God, we're going on 2 hours and it's after 9 now. And so, yeah, this is what they're doing. They're practicing priestcraft and robbing the people. Malachi. Well, a man robbed God, yet you have robbed me in tithes and offerings. They're not doing it for the right reason. They're doing it to make money above and beyond. That is not what they're allowed to do. They are temple workers only. And so they're supposed to be doing this for the welfare of the people. Priestcraft, Book of Mormon, 2 Nephi 26, if you happen to know that reference. No priestcraft. And then so section 119, well, I guess that... Did I tell you about that guy, Adrian, who came out with a new book about how the church is so true, justifying Willard Richards for altering the history and making up history? Dear God. It's the divine command reversalism theory. God can change his mind. Yeah, he can be a racist one day, and then he can change his mind, and he's not a racist anymore. He can be involved in child bride, polygamy, rape, sex trafficking, and then the next day he can repent. He can do that. He's God. I helped repair the confusion damage in communication with that person who recommended that video. I hope. I hope. I want to listen to that song today. Yeah, Pluto Nash. Yeah. Pluto Nash. I don't know if I can remember the title of the song. Do You Love Me? Do I dare look for it while I'm in the video to make it longer? Mademoiselle. Yeah. We're listening to you today. I have to wait until after I do the video. I can start it up. The earplugs are plugged in. Should I? So why not? So I'll be set when I put the video together. So you don't know Pluto Nash? Movie. Okay. Sorry. Go back to the page. There shouldn't be anything. I should have everything up on the screen for you. Alrighty. Okay. Overthrew the money changers, seats of the installed doves, will not suffer any man who should carry any vessel through the temple. And he taught, saying unto them, it is not written, is it not written? My house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And the scribes and the chief priests, the Strengthening Church Members Committee, and the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles heard it and sought how they might destroy him, for they feared him. Really? Because I don't fear you. Because all the people who didn't know about him, because of YouTube shutting him up, were astonished at his doctrine. What? We're Jewish? Pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish? Egyptian? What? How are we Egyptian? There's nothing to indicate that we're Egyptian. No! Not the Book of Abraham. No! What are you talking about? What kind of doctrine is this? This isn't Mormonism. Bleep you all. Luke 19:45. Yeah, and so the whipping part is John, because this doesn't have it either. And he went into the temple and began to cast them out them that sold therein, and them that bought, saying unto them, it is written, my house is a house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. Yeah, Isaiah. Why didn't Matthew? I'm horrified. I had to fix it. And still, if they took it out, it's not my fault. And he taught daily in the temple, women's court. But the chief priests and the scribes of the chief of the people sought to destroy him. Yeah. I'm telling you, they've tried to murder me ever since I found the way to perfection, which we're going over today. We get to resurrect it. And could not find what they might do, for all the people were very attentive to hear him. Who is this guy? We're Jewish with Egyptian. What? No, we're Christian. Duh, it's in the center of the name. John 12:12. This better be the whippet. I know there's weapon involved. All right, on the next day, much people. See, that's Lazarus. Raising Lazarus from the dead was on Palm Sunday. Resurrecting Zion. Resurrecting Joseph's church. Setting in order, resurrecting the temple. Joseph Smith erected, Brigham Young insurrected. I'm trying to resurrect. I've got the key. Why are you letting it go to waste? Oak says he doesn't have the key. I've got it. It's real easy to do. On the next day, much people that were come to the feast, Passover, when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. See, this year Passover and Easter do not coincide together. Yes, Easter is on Sunday, which is during Passover, but Sunday, yesterday, Palm Sunday, is not Passover yet. It's not until Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. That's when Passover starts. The first. Remember the signs in the heaven pictures? Remember the video content I did over the weekend? After that? Pay attention, guys. I don't have a script. When they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, to Zion. And if you're listening still, at almost 2 hours in, and you haven't caught on yet, that I am now fulfilling this right now in real time. So, took branches. Oh, wait, this is Palm Sunday. Did I? No. 13. Oh my God. Wait a minute. John 2, 13 to 17. So why are we in 12? Because that's Palm Sunday, but the next day is, what the hell? Okay. All right, 13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen. So yeah, John is really putting things out of order from the others. But yeah, Palm Sunday with Lazarus, yeah, they're related. Still, I was right on that. Jesus went to Jerusalem, found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep, doves, sheep whisperers, I have a friend in Jesus, Spirit of the sky, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, the whip, he drove them all out of the temple. And so this is beyond the flail. This is what the author, Jewish author of John, is illustrating in visual graphic description for you. Pharaohs of Egypt. King Tut has his arms crossed across his body. In the one hand, he's holding the flail. In the other hand, the crook for shepherd. The flail is for driving oxen. You see it in facsimile number 2. And so this is the imagery of the flail to drive the oxen and the sheep and the doves. Doves is interesting because it's the same name in Hebrew as John. Ion. That's dove. So Noah and the ark with the dove that goes first with the waters of baptism. Yeah, that's what the Jews are actually trying to tell you. As in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the latter days. Matthew, John, forerunner, baptism, waters part, dry land appears, baby. The literal descent. And overthrew, he drove out all the temple and the sheep and the oxen. So the sheep and the oxen are likened unto these priestcrafters who are robbing the people blind, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the temples. So this was why the Christians also chose these specific scriptures, because they don't include the part of the prostitution in the Jerusalem temple, because it was restored so that they weren't doing that anymore, the Maccabean revolt. So even when Rome took over, which now Rome practiced male prostitution in the temples, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah, it's not homosexual, you dumbass. David. We're supposed to footnote scriptures, not our opinions. You don't know the scriptures. I don't care if you've been a seminary instructor for 16 years. You're wrong. I did it right. Don't touch it. And they split our committee so that he and James would alter my words. Come on, James. You know the law of the Jews. Put David in his place. Don't let him push you around. So yeah, he was also a cause of much of my stuff getting taken out. Don't touch me, David. I've got the Jesus card. And he touched me. David, David, David. Naughty boy. Naughty boy. And then that sold the doves. Take these things hence. Make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. What's the name of the Father? What's the name of the Son again? In the name of Isaiah's Christ. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. And they didn't reference it. And then here's Jesus' death threat for which he got executed by the Jews for. Jesus answered and said unto him, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. 3 days of darkness. And they ran a test run in 2020 instead. Then saith the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? He spake of the temple of his body. Not quite, but yeah, his coming. The Jerusalem, as the temple was destroyed when this Jewish author wrote it. Alright, so we're done with whipping it good. So that's today, corrected from the Christian's botch job. Alrighty. Everybody happy now? So yeah, I should go back to the treasury again. Temple treasury was located within the court of women, and everybody is confused. One of the outer courts of the temple. It contained 13 trumpet-shaped chests, shofar horns, known as shofar chests, where people could deposit their offerings. Each chest was designated for specific types of contributions, such as the temple tax, free will offerings, and funds for the purchase of sacrificial animals. Treasury was not only a place of monetary contributions, but also for storing valuable items dedicated to the temple. These included gold, silver and gold, and other precious materials. We are not just misfits, used in the construction and adornment of the temple and its furnishings. In the woman's gate, right before the Herod gate. No, Keraton or whatever it is. That's Jewish Kabbalah. I was wondering if Stanford was going to lead more into Jewish Kabbalah questions. He didn't. So, I still have the file on my system in case you ever do bring them up. In case you ever do. I can link you to the various, or I could send you the PDFs. I don't have to link you to them. Joe Sampson's book might be a little bit difficult to obtain, depending on, because he's not really doing new printings anymore. He sort of gave up. Was it because of my comment below? I fully support your book. You were that close to deciphering Paleo-Hebrew, you missed it by that much. But still, you helped me. I can't believe I couldn't figure it out, but yeah, the Sade in Paleo-Hebrew is the throne. I was struggling on that one. And his book helped me, published in 1999. And so, these are in order, right? Yeah. So we've got the first two are scriptures. First Nephi, chapter 22. Hey, I did this over the weekend, didn't I? 13 and 14. And the blood of that great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth. Well, we should read 12, because I did bring it up in this video. Wherefore, he, the Christ, the Mormon, will bring Mormons again out of captivity. Joseph Smith was insurrected. And they shall be gathered together to Zion, the lands of their inheritance. And they shall be brought out of obscurity and out of darkness, blindness. And they shall know that the Lord is their Savior and their Redeemer, the mighty one of Mormons, the house of Israel. Let God prevail. God, what a loser. Taking advantage of Mormons who are not allowed to learn Hebrew. And therefore the blood of that great and abominable church. He's talking about Mormons. Mormons are the house of Israel. It's repeated numerous times. The Book of Mormon is for the house of Israel. Mormons are with the Book of Mormon, therefore the house of Israel. So we'll come back. 2 Nephi 29. A Bible. We have got a Bible. We don't need a Bible. Get this Book of Mormon out of here. Slam. Yeah, Christians or Gentiles. So in verse 2, the Book of Mormon shall hiss forth unto the ends of the earth for a standard unto my people who are the house of Israel. Mormons are the house of Israel. Gentiles are Christians. Jews are Jews. But the Jews are the ancient covenant people of God, not Christians. Because it's not Jesus. That's a false idol god. Right here in 2 Nephi chapter 29. That Tom Jones fulfilled when I was living in Corona, California, in Perpendicular Street, talking with him outside on the sidewalk, right down from his house. He saw me, called me over. My preacher told me to tell you that a Bible, I've got a Bible, and I don't need any more Bible. I knew as a kid of that passage. Went, oh, yeah, he just fulfilled it. Isn't that great? Or actually, I might not have known at that time, but I caught it later on in seminary when we got to the Book of Mormon. That would have been my senior year, right? So Old Testament was first, yeah, New Testament, then Book of Mormon. And so it would have been my junior year, so no, I would not have, yeah, because it was 8th grade at Auburn Jail, junior high. Teenagers, can't we just shoot them? No. We don't teach them sex ed, and so they go amok. You too, girls. Don't claim to be innocent. I'm not buying it. All right. And the blood of that great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth, shall turn upon their own heads. Here it is. For they shall war among themselves. Did you see my repeating pictures of Alyssa Grenfell? The social media war against the church. Ta-da! Alyssa Grenfell, as an apostate, fulfilled the Book of Mormon prophecy in 1 Nephi 22, verse 13. Good job, Alyssa. Now we just got to convince you that Joseph Smith was not a polygamist, rapist, child raper. Find Brigham Young's little black book of Epstein files. I've got it. I can give it to you. You got so popular, you don't listen to anybody else anymore. It is the nature and disposition of almost all people, not just men. As soon as they get a little authority, as they suppose, they begin to exercise unrighteous dominion. So yeah, people who get power, people who get money, people who get popular, they tend to forget their roots, their origins. And so, the sword of their own hands shall fall upon their own heads, and they shall be drunken with their own blood. And this is what I deeply worry for in the coming day. I don't know days. It seems more like it should be day, because we were told before Easter. We just had the No Kings protest. Utah has now officially turned blue. Code blue! And so then every nation that shall war against the O house of Israel, Mormons, shall be turned one against another. Yep. Mormons are all over the world, and wars are now all over the world, fighting against other nations now, thanks to Trump and Iran. Iran is fighting other Islamic nations now. Trump failed in Gaza. Trump failed in Venezuela. Trump failed in America. Trump failed. So here's Iran, and he's starting to show that he might fail. He's blaming Hegseth. Oh no, Trump, it's got to be, they're not there yet. Easter is just the end of this week. Get the church now, hurry, shut them down. They're going to flee the country. And so the pit, they shall fall in the pit which they digged to ensnare Mormons. And all that fight against Zion shall be destroyed, the day that shall burn as an oven. And that great whore, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who hath perverted the right ways of the Lord, yea, that great and abominable church shall tumble to the dust, and great shall be the fall thereof. And behold, thus saith Isaiah, the time speedily cometh that Dallin Harris Oaks shall have no more power over the Mormons, for the day soon cometh that all the proud and they that do wickedly shall be as stubble. Sound familiar? Back her up. And the day cometh that they must be burned. So yes, I could even put in Joseph Smith history. Oh, God. Joseph Smith history, second vision. Last minute alterations. Do you remember 21st night, September? So, you should know its new name Nephi at the Temple of Angels, not Malachi. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall burn as stubble. Then he adds, for they, verse 1, the missionaries who lied about Joseph's church, lied about the religion, lied about Joseph Smith, and didn't even bring up the Book of Mormon. They thought they were Christian when they were converted. That's why the church is under condemnation in September 1832 in section 84. Joseph is condemning the missionaries for lying, treating lightly the Book of Mormon. And they refused to stop. And so in December 1832, Section 86, you are lying and therefore are apostates, referring to wheat and tares being sown among the wheat, for which you give tithing. Bread. Had a bread dream, Nelson. You shouldn't have touched the temples. See, when you immerse yourself in certain things in life, your dreams relate to what you immerse yourself in. And so if you meet a new friend, for example, and you spend a lot of time with them, chatting with them, and so forth, you just end to have dreams. They end up being a dream character. So, yep. I can help you understand your dreams. Just tell me your dreams. Tell me what you dream at night when you're sleeping. So yes, those evil disposed and designing militant persons that changed the name of Joseph's Church to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Willard Richards, are they that shall come and burn the world, betraying the world, betraying the nations, betraying Mormons, betraying the United States of America, paying the Judas price to have the world fight each other. The Judas price to cause Mormons to decide, where do your loyalties lie? It's in real time, Mormons. It's happening. This is not supposed to be another test run. Okay? You're being warned in scriptures. Numerous places. So now we can get back onto my order. Section 101. Joseph Smith gives a parable about the latter days. The servants are the leaders of the church. Don't let the manual trick you. You are the olive trees. 153 and 151. And so, after being betrayed, giving the money to the exchangers. How did Joseph know? How did I know to know that Joseph knew? Verse 51. The enemy came by night, broke down the hedge, and the leaders of the church of the Christ, who they betrayed, money to the exchangers, robbing God, not allowed to touch tithing, arose and were affrighted and fled. And the enemy destroyed the Salt Lake Valley, broke down the Mormons, the 12 tribes of Israel, the house of Israel. The church is going to betray you. They have betrayed you. They are selling their stocks. find out now to see how it's going. Another 3-hour video. Oh my bleeping hell. That's because you weren't following me. I've got to catch you up. Avenge my enemies. I do not want to do that. Don't make me do that. God, and I see what's coming if you still refuse to listen to me, if my government still refuses to listen to me. Hurry! Time is running out. They're fleeing. They're getting everything prepared to flee. That's why I told you when Gilbert took over, and I laughed about how I called it in advance. Okay, so they're pumping right now. Yep, yeah, they're pumping. They still have some time before the end of the week. So yeah, the pump and dump. You should expect a pump and dump, not just a straight fall. They're trying to make as much money as they can. So they'll sell a whole bunch, then they'll buy low to pump it back up, and if they can get other dumb people to invest, thank you, then they'll sell that. This is a free fall of the economy that's going on. Do not be fooled into thinking that the stock market affects or is directly connected with the economy of the populace. That is the rich man's gambling casino, and they are the house. So yes, this is exactly what the church is doing. They betrayed you. They paid the Judas price to betray you and betray all nations, to destroy all nations, to destroy the economies, to take the money and run. And then from the ashes, the rising up of the new world order of the Illuminati, the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Right, Sister Freeman? God. You know they hate women, right? And so since you're not in the corporate board, you're gonna die and be betrayed, right? Just so many Mormons are gonna have a massive faith crisis in the coming day. And so yes, Trump is considered the enemy. That Trump is gonna come in to destroy Utah. Why would he do that? Aren't we MAGA? Oh, right, we're now blue. We just had a massive record-breaking No Kings protest on Saturday. Utah had 18 different venues for it. Record-breaking. Utah is now blue. Mormons have apostatized in massive numbers beyond the massive numbers from 2011. The first purge. You shouldn't have done what you did to me in 2008, guys. I tried to warn you. Yeah, the economic crash, I called it. I warned my government and the church at the same time. And how did they treat me? Oh my hell, irreparable damage. But Scripture is fulfilled nonetheless. So yes, we've got an ICE concentration camp now. They bought the warehouse. Oh, but Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall has cut it off from water. You kind of need water when you're a prisoner. And who's on this list of being a prisoner? Everybody. Oh God. So I restored it so I can still do that. It's under Nazi, right? There's the food pyramid inverted. You didn't catch on to that, huh? And so, yeah, here's the one that's not the VLC snap. Which apostate are you, Mormons? For Oaks, Heil Hitler. I told you I caught him. I showed you the pictures. I showed you the video clips. What more do you need? So, yes, the Nazis in World War II Germany identified illegals. Political. If you are not of the Nazi party, you're the enemy. You got an inverted triangle colored red. If you are a criminal, or if you are accused of being a criminal, right, Tyler Robinson? It's a green inverted triangle. If you are asocial, meaning you don't hang out with the Nazis, you're hiding in your home, you are asocial, black, inverted triangle. If you're LGBTQIAPO plus in Canada, 2S, homosexual, pink, inverted triangle. Seeing the pattern match yet? So the asocial, did you catch when they mocked you for being single cat ladies? Lesbians? It's asocial and homosexual at the same time. And notice how women is not identified here, because you as a woman are already the identification. What they did to women in Nazi Germany was horrific. Almost on par with what they did to the Jews, because the Jews also had women, and what they did to the Jewish women was, oh my God. But to the German pure white master race women, what they did to them was horrific. You were to breed, and so rape was allowed and was expected. You gotta breed, women. And so, yes, they were doing genetic testing to create the pure white master race and all this other stuff. Super soldiers and other stuff. And so, if you are not the right religion, the right evangelical religion, in this particular case, it was Jews, and there were Catholics also, and other Christian groups, and I doubt Islam, because they didn't get, that was the 60s when they started that, their plot to take over the world. But not Mormons. Why did they leave the Mormons alone in Nazi Germany? Moroni and the swastika. That's why. The Mormons knew better, but the church leaders. So yes, purple for royalty, or love and affection, support. Had to look up the different colors of hearts. But the inverted triangle of Lucifer. Whenever you see something inverted, you know they're of Lucifer. And then you're immigrants. What a shocking surprise. Everything that Trump condemned in his inauguration for his second coming are right here from Nazi Germany, the IDs of the illegals. I tried to warn you. The news was going, they're not illegal. They're American citizens. They're birthright citizenship. They didn't commit any crime. America first, remember? This isn't America first. Yes, it is. KKK. The Nazis. Hello. Illuminati. Hello. Everybody is playing dumb. Okay. So, now we got to go to July 19th, 1840. It's on my academia page this whole time since I found it, and then did the picture and put it into a scripture formatting for you with footnotes to show you how good I am, and it still needs to be updated. But I'm not going to do it now. Zion Project, when I do the full Joseph Smith collection. I've got the first draft also on academia for you. I tell you, it's the first draft. It needs to be corrected, formatted similar to this. But I gotta figure out a better way to do this. Dear God. And I could probably, yeah, that's probably what I'd have to do, but projects. Trying to save people's lives from Mormon Jesus. So Joseph Smith is commenting on that verse 51 in section 101, his parable. This was 19 July 1840. His little parable thing in section 101 was 16th of December 1833, the year after he condemned the Mormon missionaries for lying, converted by Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball. Know this context. So here goes Joseph again, who Mormons don't believe. Then the enemy shall come as a thief in the night, and break down the hedge. And the servants of the nobleman arose and were affrighted and fled. And thus the enemy did scatter the servants abroad. When the seed of these 12 olive trees are also scattered abroad, deported to the bleak hole country where they didn't come from, they will wake up the nations of the whole earth. Yeah, Trump's deportations have woken up the earth. Even this nation, the United States of America, will be on the very verge of crumbling to pieces and tumbling to the ground. And when the Constitution is upon the brink of ruin, not hang by a thread, this people will be the staff upon which this nation shall lean, and they shall bear away the Constitution away from the very verge of destruction. So yeah, no king's protest. You want to do that, don't you? But you're failing. The enemy is winning. And President Benson came out at BYU before his conference version, where he left out Joseph Smith. The prophecy of Joseph Smith will be fulfilled, but not in Washington. He told the BYU students that Joseph Smith is wrong and false. And so where is it going to be saved? It's not supposed to be. America is supposed to fall. And so he left that part out for conference. And don't let me forget 3 Nephi chapter 7. It was supposed to be in 2020. It's not literal history, so we got to do it. So unless I write it in, but where would I write it in? So we know because they say it's the 30th year. The 34th year is the sign of the death in the heavens. Revelation chapter 19, verses 11, 17, and everywhere where there's a lamb. The 8th of April, 2024. So 34 is 24, 30 is 2020. 24? Did I say 24 or 34? It should be 24. We're not there yet. Dear God, it better be in Zion, and it better be all happy and peaceful kumbaya. Oh, dear God. 60 years old, huh? 64 and 34. Oh, hell. That's my retirement years. People, do not ruin my retirement. It's already being ruined. So, there is supposed to be a presidential election in 2020 in which they will not establish the President of the United States of America. But in this same year, they did destroy upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the Chief Judge Oak. Oh, it's not Oaks. Oh, crap. He got rejected, and Chief Roberts is now the Chief Judge of the land. Mitt Romney was supposed to be the president so that he wouldn't be running for a third term in 2020's election. And so thus the confusion over the election would prevent anybody from being chosen, and then the murder of the chief judge, because that's where it would be decided rather than by Congress according to the Constitution. Right? Jeb Bush, governor of Florida in 2000 election. Really? Your experienced expert voters in Florida all of a sudden got Alzheimer's and forgot how to vote for president. Really? And so instead of having Congress decide, you made sure to go to your Supreme Court for your brother to say that, yeah, they're mentally retarded in their old age, and so they actually voted for my brother, and so Bush wins. And then, oh, what happened the next year? Oh, there was no security anymore. By which brother Bush? I'm not buying the congressional report. Especially when you said that the towers fell defying the laws of physics. Which the BYU physics professor, by the way, said, I'm not buying this. And then the church stepped in and said, how dare you use school computers to teach physics to kids about the physics behind the fall of the towers? How dare you! No more physics in BYU. No more scientific method. Do they even have a physics program anymore? Oh my hell. So today, class, we're going to talk about how humans can levitate, defy the law of gravity. As we see from this live action camera footage of Jesus coming to the Nephites, descending from the clouds of glory for his second coming to the Nephites in 3rd Nephi chapter 11. And I warned my government. The people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes, nation states. This is why they're destroying the federal government, and thus they did destroy the federal government of the land. Secret combinations, power of Satan, government destroyed. Not listening, people. So, Joseph Smith then uses the Spirit to expose the enemy. They that come shall burn them. He already did it in his... It'd be another 2 years before he published it in the Times and Seasons, with the correct name of the church and with the correct second vision person. So, in verse 7, but before this, the time shall be when these who are now my friends shall become my enemies and shall seek to take my life. And there are those now before me who will more furiously pursue me and more diligently seek my life and be more bloodthirsty upon my track than ever were the Missouri mobbers. And I still have yet to do that church history video of before 1838's Missouri mobbers, because it wasn't Missouri who was at fault then. It was the Danites. So I think he's referring to the previous time, with the Kirtland Temple dedication that I went over. You didn't watch that long? You're not listening now? I'm talking to an empty room. And here it is. He does not call him out directly, or shall I say them. But pay attention to the Last Supper of Jesus and what happens there, because this is Mark chapter 14, verse, it'd be 7d, Mark 14, 18 to 20. Is it I, and is it I? That they will say among themselves. The 12 apostles, with Brigham Young now as the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. And I'd have to check. He might have fled the country to Europe during this time. I'd have to check. But he does misquote this. That's where we get hang by a thread, is from Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, who misquote this on purpose. They know what he said. They were there, maybe, or they got word of it through the Times and Seasons to let them know what Joseph Smith just said. We'd have to check. I'm not going to check. Although will need to take a station identification break if I can't finish in 15 minutes, because I also need to go to the bathroom. It's been 3 hours. You saw me have the water. Joseph Smith is not only calling out Brigham Young for murdering him 27th of June, 1844, but also his usurpation of his religion through the missionaries are going to be the latter-day enemies, they that come. Joseph is making this very clear, not as very clear back in those days, because you'd have to have those documents in your possession. You'd have to have the times and seasons. Wait a minute. Didn't Joseph Smith say something like that sometime? But the 1838, he hasn't said yet. It hadn't been published. So they didn't know that yet. And so Joseph Smith, 2 years later, publishes 1835, They That Come, the actual name of the church. That they would go on and change and say that Joseph Smith changed the name of the church in 1815 while he was working on the Joseph Smith papers. Or the Joseph Smith history. No, he didn't. Okay. So, in 1838, though, there's this Thomas B. Marsh, the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles over the missionaries, who was condemning the missionaries. He did a whole talk on the name of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and how important the name of the Church of the Latter-day Saints is. No Jesus. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So should I just stop it now, and rather than trying to wait until the... Yeah, we probably should. Hold on. So this will allow me to go on for 6 hours. Nobody's going to watch these. Nobody is watching them. Doom, people. You only watch the pictures at the beginning, and if I don't put in a whole bunch of pictures, you're going to just abandon me anyway. Yeah, Mormons have no clue what a real seer, prophet, revelator, translator is. They have no idea how it works, or how it's supposed to work, or how to know. For some reason this pen is not working. See, normally I would get a match and melt it so that it opened up the thing for the ink, and I got to do it just the right, otherwise it flows all out in that big mess. Or you solder it together. Nothing comes out. No matches in the building. I got these, I wasn't sure, because the clearer ones were the ones I always had. But the Smiths didn't have them, or, yeah, it was the Super Smiths. They didn't have that brand at the time. So I said, okay, fine, we'll get these, and they're medium, so it should be fine. And they have been, for the most part. It's just today, this one is giving me grief. It's brand new, as you can tell. So, Thomas B. Marsh. I did these videos for you guys already, this year even. You need to listen, because this is real church history. This is how the church is evil and not true. And you know, maybe Albert Einstein was correct. No amount of evidence will ever convince an idiot. Thank you, Anonymous Mormon, for that picture. And meme, with its accompanying meme. But this is a government document. This was him saying, I'm out of the church, which means there was no wife's honor and milk strippings. George Albert Smith lied, and then both Hinckley and Monson, knowing that he lied, still got up at the pulpit of conference to threaten Mormons to be loyal. That's what it was about. It was not about rewriting church history, though that was part of it. To cover up and hide the Danites. That's who he exposes. He exposes their alteration of the temple, the storehouse. Now it's for Jesus and not the poor. He's the quorum of the president of the 12. He knows what Joseph Smith said. He knows section 42 from the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. He's not a dummy. He knows what he reads. He knows the name of the church. He knows it's not the Church of the Latter-day, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He knows. He's the president. He's responsible for the missionaries, whom Joseph Smith is upset. The missionaries are lying. He's responsible for those missionaries who are lying and trying to get them in line. He's got talks. Missionaries, stop it. Don't lie to the members. We just had the Kirtland apostasy. And the Danites then took them for phase 2 of their coup against Joseph. And so part of that was going to the Mormons that they brought from Kirtland and saying, join us in this war against Missouri. We demanded that they find 3,000 votes in the election. Just 3,000 more. Exact same pattern match, people. Election fraud. No president. Murder. Civil war. And sure enough, he also exposes that these Danites with the Adam on Diamond. I'm unfamiliar with this place. I didn't send anybody here. It's Spring Hill. Nobody lives there. What? No K. Whitney's there. How'd he get there? Isn't he supposed to be a bishop in another location? Yeah, forged documents are being exposed by Thomas B. Marsh before they then confess that those are forged documents. Remember Mark Hoffman? I did that video again recently. Or at least reminded you of him. He is told by them that they are coming in the latter days to burn the world. They say they're going to do it. And then they confess. In their forged documents, they also confess. Willard Richards, rewriting church history. That Adrian guy. Divine Command Revisionism. Reversalism, I think it actually was. Thus far, according to the order of the Danites, they confess that that's their name. They confess it's not the order of Emmanuel. They confess it's not Joseph. The order of Dan Amos chapter 8, verse 14. The god Dan of the Danites. They have their own secret religion, cooing Joseph Smith. We have a company of Danites in these times to put to rights physically, Order of Neor, that which is not right, and to cleanse the church. They're kind of pissed with Joseph, and they can't just leave him alone to have his own religious freedom. Can you, Mormons? Of very great evils which have hitherto existed. What, Jewish? House of Israel? Egyptians? And Mormons who believe this crap are unable to be put to rights through teachings, you mean lies, and persuasions. And thus the justification for getting physical to force people to believe them and accept the lies that they tell you. This is the purpose for the Strengthening Church Members Committee. They're not activating any of us. They physically put us to rights. And here they are, the evil disposed and designing militant persons in companies of 10s commanded by their captain over 10. Confessing that Joseph Smith was telling us the truth, that they are the enemy coming in the latter days to burn us. So wouldn't you know it? I found it before I found 19 July 1840. Well, that timing, this was after October Conference 2021. I knew, being a Mormon born and raised, about the Adam-on-Diamond priesthood meeting, as we are led to believe. This is where all of the ancient prophets defy the laws of physics, risen from the zombie apocalypse, to hand over to Jesus, who no longer has any keys, to give him keys so that he can then burn the world and reign as King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the great high priest over a barren, desolate world. Because murdering people involves taking out all biological life. But wait, there's more. That Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., I found it. Leaked in a publication, The Way to Perfection, under the gathering at Adam-on-Diamond, with pages 290 and 291 for the keys of the everlasting kingdom, thrones to be cast down, and by voice of the priesthood. And so, he does tell you in the context of both pages that were assembled together that Jesus is not going to be given keys, even though he says that. That the keys of government are to be given to the church, and thus the church leadership. after they are thrown down by Jesus with the day that shall burn as an oven, the coming of Jesus in the clouds of glory. You need to put all this in context, because trying to explain, well, if it's supposed to be given to Jesus and Jesus will assume the reins of government, well, why is he giving it to the people of the saints of the Most High? And then shall he give the government to the saints of the Most High, if he's going to assume the reins of the government, but he's going to give it over to the Mormons? Put it in the bigger context. This was assembled by his son and published by his son after his death. But the transfer of authority, the overthrow of the government that the Danites are going to cause. The Danites are the head of the church. The council in the valley of Adam-on-Diamond is to be of the greatest importance to this world. At that time, there will be a transfer of authority, government authority. The United States is going to transfer their government authority. The world governments are going to transfer their government authority from the usurper and impostor Lucifer. And Trump thought he was the chosen one. To the rightful King Jesus Christ. And in that context, to the president of the church. The presidents of government are Lucifer, the president of the church with a multi-personality disorder, thinking he's speaking the words of Jesus to hurt everybody. Oaks, I told you I did the pretty pictures. This is what I mean. And you come to one video and you think you know better than me? I did this research. 10.2 going on 3K videos over an extended mission that was only supposed to be 3 years and ended in 2020. And Oaks got leaked by a little sister missionary. And so only a select Mormon, as we now found out, just one, are going to be in that council to transfer government authority. The Council for National Policy, founded in 1981 with the Reagan administration, you know, that dude from Death Valley days, born in East LA. Awesome movie. To overthrow the government. That's their whole mission. Everything from 1981 to the present, because they're still operational, they have caused to overthrow our government. And lo and behold, the secret combination of the secret combination to overthrow the government of the world and ultimately the entire world, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Danites. But not physically putting to rights. Now they're doing it monetarily, paying the Judas price to do it. And so thus the Heritage Foundation and other foundations, Steve Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, the guy who hooked up SCOTUS with billionaires to bribe them to vote a certain way, etc., etc., etc. All of this, the 2000 election, that 9/11 event, all of it, this Council for National Policy. All right here, because I found the Council of National Policy before October Conference 2021, and then after Conference October 2021, then I found the way to perfection. The Council. And sure enough, every member plays their role. Even the church did. Rather than Cleon Skousen and Mark Skousen, his firstborn birthright blessing son, to be in that council now. It is he who notifies the church so that Nelson would be saying, in the coming day, in the coming days, in the coming day, in the coming days, in the coming day, in the coming days. Jesus, burning. Are these people religious? Yeah. The founder of it was Tim LaHaye. Left Behind series, where the Antichrist causes the collapse of the governments. And guess what they're doing? The founder, who wrote about the Antichrist as a true evangelical Christian, is playing the actual role that he wrote to be the Antichrist, to overthrow the governments of the world and establish the new world order for Jesus as the Antichrist? Wow. And nobody was supposed to know about it, Travis. And that's why I'm here in this apartment now. Bleep this church. And so, here's the fleeing after setting us up. Harold B. Lee, 19th day of November, 1973. The Freedom of Information Act, I think, is now in place. Nonetheless, he still does this in secret. People have to know to look for it. Articles of incorporation of the non-existent religion of a shell company that is stealing money from Mormons to fund terrorism worldwide, to cause Armageddon, to set it all up, to run test runs. Even Nazi Germany was a test run. Bad Pigs, test run. North Korea, Vietnam, test runs. Or Korea, I guess, back in those days. Heber J. Grant in 1923 established this criminal operation. And so Harold B. Lee adds to it in 1973, 19th day of November. I just a sweet old little boy. My brother is not quite 2. Close, 5 more days. Upon the winding up and dissolution. What? Of this corporation. Excuse me? Are you going to tell the Mormons this? No? It's in their plans the whole time to raise up an immense amount of trillions of dollars, stealing from the whole world to destroy the economy, to destroy government. That's what they did to Joseph in Kirtland. They took out loans and didn't pay them back. That tanked the bank. And Joseph got blamed for it. Now they're doing it to Trump. They're the ones pumping the stocks today to dump them before conference. To dump them before the big event that's supposed to happen before Easter. So that the church can flee the country. To say, see ya, Mormons. This is why the church is lying to you. Demanding you be loyal to their lies, or they'll physically put you to rights. Causing Mormons to decide, are you going to be stupid or are you going to be an apostate? You choose. Both of which get burned. They're the enemy. They're the cause. They get other people to do their will, and consequences follow, and the people don't get supported by the devil, because the devil never supports his own. You are to do their will and destroy according to what you are supposed to do. And that is how the church used this Council for National Policy, to get each one of them to do their part. Steve Bannon with the 2016 election with Cambridge Analytica, Paul Manafort selling the Facebook data of Cambridge Analytica to Russia. And then Russia then buys advertising to tell the Republicans you'd rather be Russian than vote Democrat. And to the Democrats, call this hotline now in order to preserve your vote. You're going to be stolen. You're not going to be able to vote. Call now. Call now. And Trump wins. And Hillary, rather than fighting it, conceded. And Comey came out and said, yeah, well, it's too close to an election. We can't investigate Trump. We're not going to do it. But that Hillary, and Trump punishes him? I don't get it. But yeah, I do get it, because Trump called him in to thank him for rigging the election, and he refused to shake the hand of the president. That's why Trump was pissed. Trump did not receive the recognition that he deserves. Where is it? Here it is. Even that other guy who resigned, or forced to resign, ended with America First. He was a loyalist. The devil never supports his own. Trump is in the same manner as the church. You do his will, or he betrays you. And if you do his will, you'll get locked up, and maybe you'll get pardoned, maybe you won't. Trust in the Lord. This is what's coming, Mormons. They're selling the stocks. They're preparing for the fleeing. And they've got to get it timed just right. And so, yes, this is why there's a big war in Utah. Mormons were furious that MAGA Utah leadership tried to pull a fast one and overturn the redistricting map, lying to people to get signatures to force it to get on the ballot since they couldn't overturn it in the courts. And people were notified, And people said, oh, hell no, I didn't vote for that. I didn't sign that document for that reason. People are pissed that they got conned, and thousands removed their signature. I couldn't find mine because the list was so huge. And I don't even know, because I asked the guy repeatedly. So this is the new map that is under attack by the MAGA. And that I want to make sure that the new map gets preserved and safe from MAGA. Oh, yeah, sign right here. It better be. And so then I hear about the forging of signatures, and I'm going, oh my hell, if that was my signature that was forged. And so yes, thousands of others were conned into signing that document, and they had their signatures removed, and it failed therefore to reach the number required to be on the ballot. We are now blue because of the evils that have been exposed. Utahns are furious and pissed with this government for ruining our lives. It's bad enough that we had a bad reputation with Zion Curtin and the best snow on earth that it's now gone. Now they're trying to maintain their power. Hell no. No kings. Yeah, if you saw the picture I put in, yeah, they're not really as much concerned with Trump as they are with Senator Lee. And thus Governor Cox, and thus the legislature here in Utah. They're pissed. And then now there's a concentration camp for which that when we go to it as prisoners, we no longer have water. People are pissed. The church is getting exposed. People are leaving the church. There's a war in Utah, led by Alyssa Grenfell. She is crushing this church, even though she's wrong on church history stuff. And Mormons have fled. They're not going to church anymore. And I've warned you that this is their plan the whole time. They were trying all Nelson's term to chase you out of the church. Nelson starts off, yeah, no more high priests. Yeah, we're working with Russia. Yeah, we had Trump come out to the welfare square. Tithing. It's not for the poor. That's not where the storehouse money comes from. Fast offerings. We all know this in the church. But they're telling Trump on his visit, because you can barely hear Trump say, all this for 10%. I may even do more. They're lying to Trump that tithing is for the bishop's storehouse. And Trump knows, as a criminal himself, that what the church is doing with tithing is a criminal racket. And is kind of thinking the church is dumb for only doing 10%. People just are just plain dumb. God. And so, probably should put in the whistleblower's comment that we don't need to pay tithing anymore for this one. Which, I'd have to search to find it, but Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. also had a quote on that. He said that there will come a time where we will not require tithing of the membership, that we are going to collect so much in tithing that we're going to be so prosperous and blessed that the Mormons will be told not to pay tithing anymore. And then, oops. See, he didn't understand. He was told the coding. He was not told the actual truth. And he became the president of the church because, well, the church no longer existed. So it's okay. It was Heber J. Grant who restarted it. Sort of, but not really. It was a criminal organization under Heber J. Grant. And again, do the repeating of those videos for you to make this even longer of a video. Yeah, 10.2 going on 3K videos, people. And I have to keep repeating information. And doing long videos doesn't help because then I have to keep repeating the information after 5 minutes in the video. After the pictures. Because nobody wants to get it. So yeah, they're gonna flee. That's what this whole thing is. They're preparing to flee. They're pumping and dumping to get more and more to destroy the economy, to destroy the governments. And then they're just gonna take off. And their church leaders, they're like the kings. If they go to the airport, they get to skip the lines. They've got people in position to give special privileges to the apostles. And if they go to the airport, taking North Temple to the airport, not the women's leaders, just the First Presidency, Quorum of the 12, and the presiding bishopric, maybe, because they do know the total asset value of the church too, and their immediate family. Yeah, they've got the private planes. You know, some of them, they say, are having to do coach. But with Mormons supporting them, yeah, they can easily obtain private planes if they don't have enough for all of them. And we just saw the news over the weekend. The CEO of one of the airlines held the flight for his late daughter. And so, yes, I understand that in the context of I just got off my mission and got dropped off at the Salt Lake City airport, and I had no clue where to go to catch the plane to Los Angeles to be picked up by my parents. And I just get off and I'm looking around, and I'm seeing all of these other missionaries who were congratulated by all of the little girls screaming and jumping on their bodies, and you're home giving them kisses, and here I am all by myself, nobody. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so many lights and so many words, and where am I supposed to go again? And then all of a sudden my sister, Travis, you're late. I held the plane up. They're waiting for you. We got to go clear across the airport to get to your plane that's now holding for you. You're late. You mean it would have left without me? I got there just in time to miss my flight? Who arranged these tickets? I was sabotaged. Was it Murdoch Travel? Are you the ones to blame? Don't you know that I should have married your relative when I went back to Rick's? But then blew it? My one and only one regret in life? And so yeah, we then ran clear across the airport to finally get there, all because my sister stopped the plane. So yeah, that was the news over the weekend. The CEO of the airline held the plane for his daughter. Hilarious. And they're all Mormons, lest you forget. Lest you forget. Lest you forget. So yes, it's coming. But yeah, you can see that they're already planning a backup in case of failure. They've been doing this the whole time. This is why test runs and backups. Oaks said, we had no intention of doing temples anymore. We're not doing young single adult devotionals anymore. And so yes, for this year, it's one at a time. If they'll get a new temple, okay, fine, but there isn't any. There are fake announcements being given to try to fool Mormons. But yeah, this is supposed to be it. He gave us 7 death threats this year instead of last year with just 5. That before Easter, this week, if it does not happen, they failed. And I'm going to cry again. I quit. I quit again. Bleep you. Bleep you for your failure. This is it, guys. Or we are off script. Like I said, it was supposed to be 2020 from the scriptures. That was their plot for 200 years. They were preparing everything for 2020, and then, oops, was it because of me that I served the church, you know, the man like Moses in Pharaoh's court on the 24th of February? So that Oaks then comes out and says, yeah, we've changed, we're now going to be running a test run. Because Oaks knew about it. Kirtland McConkie lawyers have to notify them, to counsel with them. Well, how would you like us to proceed, President Nelson? Oaks, you're a former prosecutor and Supreme Court Justice. How would you like us to proceed, since Nelson isn't? He knows. He had to tell Kirtland McConkie what he wanted done for Nelson. He's responsible. I know this. I'm not naive. I know it's you, Oaks, pulling Nelson's puppet strings. You are not fooling me. God. So, Abba Day 12. And yep, I'm having to get signs in the heavens made and all this other stuff. So yeah, their backup is still treating things as normal, ignoring that they're massively losing members and shutting down wards and stakes. That more will come if it doesn't happen this week. I was chewing on my gum yesterday, and I think it created a sore, but I don't think it shows. It's on the inner side of the lip still. Ran out of snack foods. So I'm eating my flesh. God. But yeah, what they claim they're going to do for Jesus, it's supposed to be done for me. Did the videos over the weekend. Remember? Cricket, 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 chirp, 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 Mormon crickets. So, yeah, we're all doomed. Dear God, 11. This isn't going to be put up until the evening. And I don't expect much church news. This is dress rehearsal week. No meetings, none of that stuff. This used to be the time when interviewing would take place in preparation for conference. Keep people guessing as to who they're going to choose. Try to prevent leaks from getting out. And so, yeah, both Gilbert and Cossé were supposed to wait until April this week under normal tradition. But like I told you, So now the dilemma, do I put it on Alyssa that she fulfilled Book of Mormon prophecy, which will come as a shock to her, not just everybody else? I transferred that picture during the break. I'm putting it in. She fulfilled it. So that people understand. Or do I stick to what I intended, is that prophets are going to flee again? Or they're getting whipped. Because I have to make that picture. It's easier for Alyssa. I already have the picture. I just put the Book of Mormon reference. But I think I should put the Jesus smiting the 12 apostles in the first presidency, because that's funnier. And since that's today, according to Christians, and that's why this time I won't put my face on Jesus, because then nobody will care. But if Jesus is whipping, I might get more views. Might. So, God, here we go. So this is 3.5 hours. My hell is for children. And yeah, getting caught in the Epstein files. Oh man. Yeah, that also caused problems. Yeah, because that was found out by the apostates who found that one out. And then you even have Mormons trying to justify, well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the president of the church. Yeah, it could be a local leader or just a regular member who's, you know, the elders quorum president or ward mission leader. And so the people don't know. They know. They know. Al Gore knew when he came to Temple Square to talk about going green to save the earth, not destroy it. So yeah, these videos are inspired if you listen. If you listen. It's the whole thing. You're supposed to be inspired by listening so that you will know what you should do. Not go astray. So, alrighty. I don't even know if I have enough